Hello and welcome. Things have certainly changed as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. We hope you and your loved ones are safe. During this unprecedented time, we at the Center for Autism and Early Child Mental Health at Montclair State University are committed to support you. We have created a series of webinars in response to the pandemic. We would like to offer a regulating, relating, caring, and learning experience that reaches out to child care providers, teachers, social workers, healthcare providers, parents, and anyone else who is in contact with children during this crisis. We are recording these webinars to provide information and insight to better understand and respond to infant, toddlers, and young children at times of heightened stress and trauma. At some point in our lives, most of us either have already or will experience loss. It's a normal part of life. Unfortunately, the COVID-19 pandemic has intensified the sense of loss for many of us. Today's topic, in the process, everybody's losing something and grieving. We are addressing some of those secondary losses experienced as a result of COVID-19. Here with you today are Gloria Andrade and Yolanda Sosa. We are asking you to share this information with others. However, we must also remind you that these webinars are not for sale. Infant and early childhood mental health is an interdisciplinary field concerned with optimal physical, social, emotional, and cognitive development within the context of children's family. At the center, we believe that emotional and relational well-being is the foundation of development and educational progress. In the process, everybody is losing something, and grieving. We're going to talk a little bit about phases of disaster, what did I lose, the grief cycle, and how to tell if a child is grieving, and how do we cope with it. So first, we're going to talk a little bit about the phases of disaster. The pre-disaster phase is characterized by fear and uncertainty. The pre-disaster phase may be a sort of hours or even minutes, such as during terrorist attacks, or maybe could be as long as several months when we talk about hurricane season, for example. So the impact phase is characterized by a range of intense emotional reactions. Specific reactions depend on the type of disaster that is occurring. And the impact phase is usually the shortest of the 6 phases of disaster. The heroic phase is characterized by a high level of activity with a low level of productivity, and members exhibit adrenaline rush induced to the rescue behavior. Then we're going to see the honeymoon phase, which is characterized by a dramatic shift in emotion. During the honeymoon phase, disaster assistance is readily available. The relief that everything will return to normal quickly comes on surface. The disillusionment phase. During this phase, communities and individuals realize the limit of disaster assistance. This phase can last months and even years, and it is often extended by one or more triggered events, usually including the anniversary of the disaster. And last, the reconstruction phase is characterized by an overall feeling of recovery. Individuals and communities begin to assume responsibility for rebuilding their lives, and people adjust to a new normal while continuing to grieve losses. So here, pandemic challenged the phases of disasters that we normally know when there is a natural disaster such as hurricane or earthquake. Pandemics cause an initial impact. However, that's not the end. For a period of time, which is unpredictable, we continue to experience the impact of illness through the rising numbers of people infected and the numbers of deaths. With our national focus on the daily turn of events as the new coronavirus spread and with the chaos, the secondary losses may escape us. So we worry aloud about a lot of things, such as our kids, their health, their jobs, their future, the fragile elders in the family, the economy, etc. We wonder if life will ever return to normal and what normal will look like. Coronavirus has drastically affected the world as we knew it, and it's okay to grieve. So in the process, everybody is losing something. You may feel the grief of others, including that of displaced workers, of those who have already lost friends and family to the virus, and of those who will in the days to come. So what did I lose? Consider how you feel when you think of this. The coronavirus sweeping the globe has not only left many people anxious about life and their issues, but it has also left people struggling with a host of less obvious existential losses as they pay attention to stay-home warnings and wonder how bad all things will get. Many social responses revolve around the real or perceived loss of control, income, privacy, autonomy, value civil liberties, trust, beliefs of faith, routines, social connections, family structures. In these uncertain times, it is important to acknowledge those community-wide losses and then create new ways to move forward. So let's talk about some of those losses. Social connection. The most impactful of the immediate losses as we hunker down at home is the separation from close friends and family. Children are not able to play together. There is no in-person social engagement, no hugging, no touching, which is very disruptive to our emotional well-being. Separation from our families, colleagues, and office mates creates a significant loss. And when we look at the before and after, we see the difference with the kind of connections that we're building now. Rituals. Following this is the change on rituals. The celebration of milestones like birthdays, weddings, and graduations, among others, have changed to virtual celebrations, leaving us with the nostalgia of past events. When we talk about routines, we can no longer engage in our usual routines, and no matter how ordinary they may have seemed, like maybe grabbing a morning coffee at the local store or driving to work or just picking the kids from school, routines help define our sense of self in the world. Before, we seemed to have everything so to the clock and know specifically what we were doing, and now all our routines change with the working home routines at school home routines for the kids. Then we talk about sense of security and trust. We are losing our sense of safety in the world and our assumptions about ourselves. We navigate our days making assumptions about what is going to happen next. However, the spread of the coronavirus has shaken nearly every assumption we once counted on. When government leaders, government agencies, medical systems, religious bodies, and the stock market and corporations fail to meet public expectations, we citizens feel betrayed and emotionally insecure. It is a big loss. So let's reflect together. This is our last slide in our secondary losses today, and we're talking here about identity. As a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, my identity, who am I, it maybe have been significantly affected. If we look at before and after, and we check on some of these questions, like who was I? What fears did I have? What were my values? What was my job? And I established a comparison to where I am now. Who am I? What fears do I have? What are my values? What is my job? What will be the answers to all these questions? And now I'm turning the presentation to Yolanda.
Thank you, Gloria. We need to recognize that mixed in with all the feelings we are having of anger, disappointment, perhaps rage, blame, and powerlessness is grief. Grief is a universal human experience. However, we find that while people may be ready to celebrate births and birthdays, and even to handle illnesses, when it comes to grief, they will fall silent. Grief is messy and confusing. It requires the capacity to listen and to offer people permission to be both a functioning human being, sometimes even an incredible, sad grief will come and will be striking this human being, the human being that we are all at other times. We also need to be prepared to acknowledge or to identify what we know. No matter how prepared you think you are for a loss, you can never be fully prepared. And that is what is happening to us right now with this COVID-19 pandemic. We all grieve differently. We feel loss and we valid loss. We also have a timeline for grieving sometimes, and we find that there is no timeline. You can rush it. You will grieve in some form forever. There will always be regrets, and there will always be moments that we will be feeling guilt and anger. And we also find that it's normal because it's part of grieving. Grief can make you question your fate. Maybe sometimes you will find comfort in unexpected places like we are having right now virtually. Trying to protect people that are surrounding us, our loved ones, will carry a lot of emotion within. Sometimes we are going to be seeking for new ways of grieving. We can find something like food, maybe spending more time in the screen, maybe just remembering an old time for goodie TV show that we need to record or we need to see it again just to feel comforted by it. The grief that you feel is a grief that we all have in our past, in our present, and we will be having it in the future. Big life events and milestones will forever be bittersweet. There is no normal when it comes to grieving. And sometimes we will feel like we need to cry. We need to take a walk to calm down that anger. And it's okay to feel that. It is normal and it is expected. And sometimes we don't want to cry. We want to be calm or silent, or maybe be feeling some enjoyment. And that will be also very part of it. We have also a grief cycle. You can find yourselves in these graphics. These are 5 stages of grief. Sometimes we have denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance, and we go back and forth with it. But watch out, do not feel confused when you cannot find yourself in the 5 stages of grief map. Sometimes we're just processing things, and it's very difficult to identify where we are at that point. But just keep that for information for you to have. Sometimes you will find one of these stages and it will make sense to you. Use it for tools. And as you can see in this new graph, it is not linear the way we grieve. We have stages that maybe they will start repeating themselves. We can go from anger to depression, to acceptance, to enjoyment, and then go back again and start bargaining or feeling a sense of readjustment. And then again, we will have all mixed feelings and emotions happening. There is not an end point. That's the course of life, us as human beings grieving. Our stories will tell us sometimes that we need to relieve this by sadness, by feeling anger, by feeling hurt, longing, nostalgic, hopeful, optimistic. It is completely normal to realize weeks after loss that you begin at a different start point. It will be months sometimes that pass by and then you feel back on step 1 or stage 1. Sometimes we will feel like we're waving back and goodbye to anger or depression. It is common in grief to feel like you are making progress one day only to be knocked down the next. And during these current times, I think we process all of that in one day sometimes. For children, it's different. So we need to pay special attention to how children are grieving, because you are going to find these 5 stages in them, but in a way that they present with a range of emotions that sometimes will match or not what they are feeling. For example, when we are looking at a child that is having sleeping problems or is trying to cling from yourself or with yourself, it is time that we can acknowledge what they are feeling, naming the emotion, and also being very honest and direct to whatever they are asking or they are conversing to us. Also bring along other caregivers. It's going to help you. Talk to the teachers if you can do that, or someone in the loop of the family that can help also talk to the child or to listen to it. Take care of yourself. That is one of the most important ones, because if you are taking care of yourself, that's part of the healing that they will go and process. And you can also pair that with reading books, with also using social stories and other kind of stories that can help you live that loss, that death, that grief through others in the screen or in the book. How do we cope? We already talked a little bit about that, but it is particularly important to remember that we support our children as co-regulators to them. We need to be prepared to lend our calm. And we're suggesting that, like in an emergency, if you are in an airplane, you take care of yourself first. Like you put the mask first in the airplane and then turn around and take care of the children. So you put the mask to them. Because when we are taking care of our emotions, by being present and understanding to ourselves, we can also respond better in a more calm way, in a more supported, regulated way to children that we have. And another thing is be present in the immediate aftermath of the event that is happening, acknowledging the loss without making demands of certain emotions or certain behaviors expected, just letting the griever take the lead and share, and us trying to just get away from fixing it or trying to just cover that unfixable loss. Just be present and provide support. Share how you feel, share that you're present there, that you have their back, that you can hold their hands in the present moment and in the now. And paying attention sometimes will be useful, even to understand some of these needs. So we need a lot of drops of patience and to be also aware of the months to pass by, and it can flare up years later as well and come back with these 5 stages that we already talked about. When we are mourning, we have confusion, exhaustion, and pain. We need to take breaks, we need to take rest in some moments, and that's part of our suggestions for others and for ourselves. One moment we throw ourselves into a challenging project, the next we can answer a single email. That also needs provision, patience, and forgiveness from ourselves too, what we can do and what we cannot do. And we can return to be kind of normal, but in a new way. And we'll be talking about that a lot, the new normal. To be who we were before, it will be very difficult, but we can understand what we were by looking at the past, being patient in the present moment, and look at the importance to realize that grief is probably creates an imbalance in the focus and the consistency and the drive that we have, but we can move forward and we can also process it with that patience. Being open, it's very important. We need to honor our vulnerability in ourselves and others. We can transform ourselves, having opportunities even in these particular times with creativity, with listening to others, with understanding what the grieving process is all about in ourselves and others. And also that the feeling of loss, it's part of what we are presently having and living. And we're gonna also grow after that in a more resilient hope way, with deeper connections with others and resolving part of what we want the most, which is our routines, creating new ones, having us taking breaks, being calm, finding certain moments of peace in ourselves and others in this creation. We also want you to know that it's perfectly normal to have trouble adjusting to life after something bad has happened to us. We want you to know that you can find help in your family, in your loved ones, with connections in the community, within groups, but also if you don't feel like you can do it just by yourself with these groups, you can also find other ones like these ones that we are posting here. So the COVID-19 update is, remember, you are not alone. You have this crisis text line, family helpline, domestic violence hotline, and mental health hotline. Please reach out if you feel like you need that help. We also want you to know that the Center for Autism and Early Childhood Mental Health is here for you as well to support, so you can reach out to us and write to us if you have one of these situations. And we thank you for that. And this is the message that we leave with you. For additional information that you may need, contact the center and we will help you find the places and the spaces that we may need to receive this regulating, relating, caring, and learning support. Thank you for today, and I thank my colleague Gloria Andrade for sharing this platform with me.